Hello viewers, welcome to Ekam Academy. As you know, Prelims 2024 is soon approaching and you have less than 120 days in your time in your hand. So in this short time, what are the areas you should focus upon? So in different subjects you need to cover in depth in some subjects, and you need to focus all the subjects broadly, and you have to revise many things, you have to read so many subjects, you have to practice so many PYQs and test series and all current affairs also. So how you have to balance this? Okay, so keeping all these things in mind into you to ease your preparation. Okay, so to help your preparation, we have come with a new series, that is we are giving some high yield topics from each subject or each section to focus upon for your upcoming prelims. So starting with science and technology. So when we are starting one subject, I just want to explain what is the nature of questions that can be asked in science and technology. So here, if you see in science and technology, if it is in UPSC, okay, so keeping UPSC prelims in mind, so every year almost 15 to 20 questions are coming from science and technology, and some basic questions like around 5-6 questions will come from the basic part, asking the basic definitions or the knowledge testing will be done, and remaining 10 to 15 questions will be applied in nature. Okay, they will be application oriented. So you have to be thorough with current affairs. That means whatever you see in the newspaper which is of lot of significance or which is so much important issue that is contributing to the ease of life of the people or technological progress, so all these things are the areas which you have to focus upon. So coming to these issues, so here first you need to know what are the nature of questions that can be asked from science and technology. So you need to know, so in what are the areas first. Okay, so in SNT, what are the areas you have to focus upon? So first thing is, most of the questions will come from space technology. Okay, space means mainly you have to focus on ISRO related missions. Okay, so first preference has to be given to ISRO related missions, upcoming missions, and recently what are the missions that are successful. Okay, so then any mission, if that is of lot of significance and it is contributing to entire world's progress, means even though it is carried by some other country, but if that is happened for the first time, or if it has achieved first feat of developing or achieving some significant feat, those type of things also you need to know. So but in these questions, in ISRO related missions, they can go into somewhat depth. Okay, that means they can ask you the launch vehicle, they can ask you the particular features of that missile or the launch objectives and all. But in case of any other country's missions, they'll give you the name of the mission and they'll straightly ask for what purpose they have launched it. Okay, so that means straightforward questions will be there in case of global missions carried out by various countries. But on ISRO related missions, you have to focus more. Okay, so any mission you need to know what is the launch vehicle, when it was launched, from where it was launched, what is the mission's objective, so what are we going to achieve through this particular mission. So these are the main things which you have to focus upon. So space is so much important in SNT, and almost every year 2 to 3 questions will be asked from this out of 15-20 questions. Then next important area is the area of biotechnology. Okay, biotechnology, recently if you have seen, so many gene modifications are being done. Okay, like 3-parent baby we have, or even in case of GM crops. Okay, so there is a lot of debate that is going on. So in these issues you need to know what is biotechnology. Okay, so if whenever you're coming across one particular issue, you need to know what is the technology behind it. Okay, and also we should know what are the pros and cons, what is the application of that particular technology. Okay, so these are the things which UPSC is going to ask. Okay, for example, if you have remembered, in 1 year prelims, they have asked straightly what is Bacillus thuringiensis related to. That means it is related to genetically modified crops or organisms. Means directly they'll ask the questions. Okay, so here more simplified questions only will be expected. Okay, so you can see, the syllabus itself is mentioned as general studies. Okay, so UPSC is not expecting anyone to be specialized in one particular area, so you need to have general idea about every particular thing. Okay, so try to make your preparation in a broader manner, okay? So you need not go into depth in any particular subject or any particular section, but you need to cover areas broadly. That is what UPSC is expecting from the aspirants. So here in biotechnology, the recent technologies, okay, you have to know gene related editings and all, mRNA vaccines, all these things, okay? And next important area is the area of nanotechnology. Okay, so nanotechnology is also very important. Every year they're asking 1 or 2 questions from this, okay? Quantum dots, all these things, okay? Recently, because India has also launched national quantum mission also, so that is also in news. So these type of areas you have to focus upon. Then you need to focus on other related aspects like health, okay? Like any disease, vaccines, you know, mRNA vaccines. This year Nobel Prize, that is last year 2023 Medicine Nobel Prize awarded for the discoveries of this mRNA vaccines. So you should know these things, okay? In this way you have to, next you have defense, okay? Next you have defense, and you have other areas like artificial intelligence, okay? Mobile related generations, you have 4G, 5G, 6G, what are the differences? Then Internet of Things. All these are the other aspects which you have to cover, okay? So without the further delay, we'll go into the details of these things, but basic nature of the questions asked is, so behind any technology, they'll straightly ask you what is the they'll give you one particular term, what is it related to? They can ask the straightforward question, okay? So those type of things can be covered with some basic knowledge itself. Second type of questions is, they'll give you the technology and they'll ask the application. Application oriented questions will have huge number, you can say. So those type of questions can be easily answered, okay? So unless until something impossible will be there in the options, most of the times application oriented questions, all the options will be correct, okay? Because you cannot you cannot say that this will not happen for sure, okay? So it is very difficult to prove those situations, in those situations. So if you don't know, and if you are counting very low in the prelims attempts, okay, at that point in the questions attempts, then you have to take risk and you have to go for these type of questions, okay? So understand, I'm not saying blindly go with all the above or these type of things, but just judge the options, okay? So if any option is very odd or among all the options, or if it is highly impossible to make it happen, then eliminate those type of things. UPSC sometimes gives clue in those type of questions also. Try to identify those clue, okay? So don't leave these type of questions. Even if you know or if you don't know, also take risk and try to attempt these type of questions, okay? Then what are the areas you have to focus, okay? This is part 1. This area is mainly covering important areas, okay? So main focus areas on the, you can say these are the areas with high probability that can appear in the coming prelims exams for UPSC and state PCS also. So these are the listed topics. I'm not going to explain each topic in detail because it takes a lot of time. I'm just giving these topics and just introduce the topic and why it is important for your prelims. I'll just explain, okay? So you have to focus and you have to thoroughly read these topics, okay? So integrate them as part of your preparation. Then first topic is Chandrayaan 3. You know why it is in news? Because India successfully launched Chandrayaan 3 and we became the first country to land on the southern pole of the moon. Okay, so we have achieved soft landing also. So you, in this context, what you should know, what UPSC can how it can frame a question. So it can ask on the mission objectives, okay? So most of the people will read what is all about Chandrayaan 3, but UPSC can change this trend and they can ask what is the comparative difference between Chandrayaan 2 and 3, okay? Or what is the difference between Chandrayaan 1 and 3 also they can ask. Okay, so in these type of things you should know. What, say if you have remembered, there is no orbiter that was launched as part of this Chandrayaan 3, because in Chandrayaan 2 the orbiter, whatever we have launched, that has conducted some work, so that is being used by ISRO. So we didn't separately again land an orbiter, okay? So we didn't use an orbiter in Chandrayaan 3. So these type of differences, what are the experimental objective differences, these you have to know from this context, okay? Then, so which are the countries that have already achieved this feat of soft landing? Recently, you know, Japanese SLIM experiment is also there, okay? So that with that Japan became 5th country and India became 4th country to soft land on the moon. But we became 1st country to land on the southern pole of the moon. So these things also you need to know. What is a launch vehicle? What is the mission's objectives? And what are the countries that have achieved this feat, if any? So these are the things which you need to know from this particular area. Then Aditya L1 you have, okay? So in this Aditya L1, we have successfully launched the Aditya L1, and recently, if you have remembered, this was launched on 2nd September of 2023, and recently in January we have reached this L1 point. So in this context, they can ask you with respect to L1, okay, what is L1, they can ask you, or why we have chosen L1, okay, so why only we are specifically targeting these points, Lagrange points, so that can also be asked as a question. And what are the mission objectives, why we wanted to study about the sun, okay, so why can't we study from the earth itself, why we have to go and we have to position ourselves in L1 point, all these things can be asked. So, and you can also expect other similar sun related missions conducted by other countries also, like Parker Solar Probe by NASA. These type of things can also be asked. So when you are reading these things, cover other country related missions also. Then Gaganyaan, okay, so this is upcoming mission, okay, so these two because we have successfully launched, and Gaganyaan, you know, this is going to be conducted soon. So what is the mission's objective, what are the challenges, okay, so you have to focus upon, because this is going to be first manned mission. So which country is helping us in training the astronauts, how many days they are going to stay, what is the weight of the vehicle, where they are going to position, that is lower orbit, okay, so why we have to study by staying only in the lower orbit, all these things you need to know, okay, the nitty-gritties about Gaganyaan, what are the reasons, okay, so all these things you need to know. Then Samudrayaan, similar to Gaganyaan, we are also trying to go under the ocean, deep into the ocean, almost 6,000 meters deep, so that is 6 kilometers deep, by sending 3 persons crew, okay, in a submersible vehicle. That is what the main objective of Samudrayaan. We wanted to study deep about the oceanic resources or marine resources, okay, and also polymethanic nodules, okay, if any we find. So these things, what are the objectives, okay, so it is very important because India is also aiming to launch this deep ocean mission or Samudrayaan in the coming time. So this is very important. Then SSLV. So if you have remembered, India has various launch vehicles, right from SLV, so like you have satellite launch vehicle. Then we have gone for ASLV, augmented launch satellite launch vehicle, then PSLV. So GSLV. So you have to know what is the difference between PSLV, GSLV, okay, what are the limitations on each, and also why we are focusing now on SSLV, that is small satellite launch vehicles. What are the benefits that they offer and what are the limitations they offer, okay. So what is the stages of fuel they have, so whether they are going for cryogenic, all these things you need to know, okay. So this is upcoming technology used in space, so these things you have to know. Apart from these things, other agencies, like you, if you have known, recently first private rocket also has launched into space, okay, Vikram S, if you have remembered. So in this context, I can ask you about in space, okay, and you have nations in space type of organizations you have known. So what is the objective also, they can ask you under Department of Space or which particular department also they can ask. So be thorough with these things. Then mRNA vaccine, okay, so messenger RNA vaccine, you know what is the difference between mRNA, okay, what is the technology involved in behind developing these type of vaccines, and what is the difference between mRNA vaccine and traditional vaccines, okay. Then why this is so much important is first mRNA vaccine is discovered, okay, and for COVID, and you know in the recent times Nobel Prize in medicine was also awarded for the persons who have discovered this technology of mRNA vaccines, okay. So that is why this is so much in news. So this is very important topic that can be expected in upcoming prelims, okay, in any way. Then second, malaria vaccine also was developed, okay. So you know malaria, India is also facing challenges, and India has kept some targets of achieving one particular like achieving this elimination of malaria by one particular year, okay. So you need to know what is the year, what are the programs launched, and what is the vaccine, okay, how it works, and what is the technology behind that vaccine. So what is the basic cause of malaria. So sometimes we'll focus on the application part or the current affairs part, and we just ignore the basic parts, okay. But basic concepts like what is malaria transmits through which particular mosquito, okay. So whether it is transmittable or what are the symptoms, these type of things can also be asked, okay. So don't leave these type of things, it is very simple. Then sickle cell anemia. This is so much in news because of two reasons. One, you know, in last union budget. Okay, so there is national sickle cell anemia elimination mission that we wanted to launch. Even Prime Minister also have launched, and we want to eliminate this by 2047. Okay, because this is a main problem we can see in the adolescents and women. So sickle cell anemia, why this? Okay, because of national importance, government giving lot of importance to this particular mission. And also, if you have remembered, first even in the world also, US have recently developed a therapy to tackle with this sickle cell anemia also. So that is why this is so much in use. You have to know what are the reasons, what are the like symptoms. Okay, so why this sickle cell anemia will occur. Okay, so what are the target groups, how we wanted to tackle. Okay, so the basic concepts related to hemoglobin, all these things also have to be looked into. Then stem cells. Okay, you know stem cells, or like you know every time, because why this question can be asked is, recently one Kanpur based hospital or medical college, you can say, they have claimed that they can cure blindness using the stem cell therapy. Okay, you know stem cells, okay, they can replicate in any part of the body. So you know the importance is growing on for conserving and preserving these stem cells. So in this context, as one hospital or medical college have claimed that using the stem cell therapy they can cure blindness. So first time, that is the first claim that was made in this context. Okay, so they can ask a question on how the stem cells, already once UPSC has asked. Okay, so UPSC can ask in the basic level, or they can ask in an application oriented question also. So these things you have to focus upon. Next, lab grown meat. Okay, so you know why this is in news, because so many countries, okay, they're doing experiments and research to produce this lab grown meat, or you can say cultured meat also. And if you have seen yesterday itself, okay, so Central Fisheries Research Institute, first time, okay, they have started a project to develop lab grown fish meat also. Okay, so that means when we are doing for the first time, okay, anything which is done for the first time, or which is going to be done, okay, for the first time, those things will attract the UPSC's attention. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, how they're growing using tissue culture. So what is the technology behind, how these things, what are the pros and cons. Okay, so those things you have to look into. Then 3-parent baby. You know 3-parent baby is in news because in UK recently one baby was born, okay, out of this 3-parent baby, you can say, using this technology. Why? Because what is the technology behind this? Mitochondrial DNA. Okay, so you know whenever the mother has a defect in her mitochondria, then the mother's mitochondria will be removed from the DNA, and another mother, like another woman's mitochondria, will be attached. Okay, so this technology you have to know. And also UPSC have asked a question with respect to this mitochondrial DNA already. So these type of questions can also be expected. Then dolly sheep. Okay, dolly sheep, you know, because recently the person who have invented this or you can say who is associated with production of this dolly sheep, cloning, okay, animal cloning you call, right? So that person has passed away. Okay, so that, what is the reason? Okay, so like what is the technology behind cloning? So what is the objective of cloning? Why we are cloning animals? What are the pros and cons? You have to look into. Then what is generative AI? Why this is in news? Because you know ChatGPT. So there is so much debate going on. Okay, so with respect to this ChatGPT, you know, even it is so many persons that are trying this ChatGPT to solve this UPSC questions. Okay, so this ChatGPT is forming part of this generative AI. Okay, so you should know what is the technology behind it and what is the controversy surrounding this. Okay, so these things you have to know. Then 6G versus 5G, telecommunications, information and communication technology under this. Okay, so you know, you have to know whenever there is new technology, you should know what is the difference between that technology and the previous technology. Okay, so when 5G is the 5G versus 4G. If you are shifting from 4G to 5G, then what are the cons in 5G which is overcome by 5G? In that aspect you have to look into. Same way you have to compare, okay, what is the latency speed, what is the advantages that 6G is offering over 5G. These type of things you have to look into. Then Industry 4.0, fourth industrial revolution. Okay, so you should know what is the basic concept behind this. So in these type of questions they'll ask you straightforward statements only, that is expected. Okay, So they'll ask you what is the concept behind Industry 4.0. Like, you know, what is Industry 4.0, where you're not only going through electronic means, but you're trying to integrate human minds with electronics, like, you know, machine learning, Internet of Things, okay, big data type of these technologies are part of Industry 4.0. Okay, so you need to know into these things. Then deepfakes, you know why deepfakes is in news? Because of one controversy surrounding an Indian actress. Okay, so using deepfake technology is, are we people, okay, misusing this particular technology? What is the idea behind this technology, artificial intelligence or something? Okay, so these things you have to look into. Then the main topic, okay, so in again health related, you can say, that is CAR-T cell therapy. So this therapy is so much in use because India's first time this first therapy was authorized by Indian government in respect of the CAR-T cell therapy. So with respect to what T cells, okay, if you have remembered, once UPSC have asked this question in prelims, okay, so what is the use of T cells and B cells? Okay, so in this way you should know what is the objective of this therapy: to end cancer. Okay, so what is the thing they are going to do as part of this therapy, and which is the institute, IIT Bombay, so along with some institute, okay, so they have claimed that they are going to go for this particular therapy, that is first time in India. So what is the name of the therapy? Okay, so developed by whom, how they are going to achieve this? Okay, all these things you have to know in this aspect. Okay, so these are some topics which were listed with high probability from May to December 2023 in the section of science and technology. I hope that you found this video useful for your preparation. If you want any more further videos, or if you want any other further suggestions with respect to your preparation, okay, to ease your preparation, we are always there. Try to include those in the comment section so that we can address your issues and we can ease your preparation as much as we can. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you.